Hello, this is Ms. Beltran, and we will be discussing the states of matter for this instructional video. This is our standards and objectives. Our main objective of this lesson is to identify the three states of matter, and then we will discuss what happens when outside forces are applied to matter to make them change into a different state. Our three states of matter are solids, liquids, and gas. A solid maintains its own shape and does not change shape without an outside force. For an example, ice. Our next state of matter is liquid. Liquid takes the shape of whatever container it is in and free flowing. An example of a liquid would be water. Our last state of matter is gas. Gas has no fixed shape or volume. But, like liquid, gas can take the shape if it is put into a container. For example, when you blow up a balloon, the air from your lungs fills that balloon and the air takes the shape of that balloon. But when you bust the balloon, that air then goes into the air of whatever room or space you're in. The example I used as a gas is steam. In the text box, please give an example of each of the three states of matter that you see around you right now. How can matter change? There are outside forces that, when applied to matter, can cause it to change forms. Sometimes these changes are permanent, which means they cannot be changed back, and sometimes these changes are temporary, meaning that they can change from one form to another, applying outside forces. The first instant is our permanent change. This is when we burn something. When we are burning something, this is when extreme heat, most times fire, is applied to a solid, causing it to turn to ash. Now, ash is also a solid, so this is solid to solid change. But once something is burned to ash, you cannot take that ash and change it back to its original form. Our next form of change is from a solid to a liquid. This is when a heat source, not necessarily fire, is applied to a solid, changing it to a liquid, and the example I use is ice to water. This is a temporary change because, as you will see from our next example, you can then freeze the water and turn it back to ice. This is known as freezing. This is when extreme cold is applied to a liquid and turns it into a solid. The example, again, I use is changing water back into ice. The last change that matter can go through is from a liquid to a gas, and what is the boiling process. This is when you apply heat to a liquid, causing it to boil, and it will evaporate into a gas, such as when water is boiled and it turns into steam. Here are some visual examples of those changes that we just discussed. In this picture, you will see trees are on fire. Now, when those trees burn and they turn to ash, this is a permanent change. That ash cannot be turned back into the original trees. Our next example is of melting. What you see in this picture is ice cubes, and an outside heat source, whether from the air or from the room temperature, is causing that ice to melt and turn into water. The opposite of that is freezing. The picture I show is of icicles, and this is caused when water outside reaches freezing temperatures of the air, and the water will freeze into icicles. And the last example, again, is a pot of boiling water, and what you see in the picture is actually steam. This is a visual stage of gas. Now, once the steam goes into the air, it will then turn in or incorporate into the air in the room and become invisible. We are going to take what we learned today and we are going to apply it to the life cycle of a snowman. On this activity, you are going to first tell me what happens when a snowman is built. Then, if you look, you will have to circle at this stage if he was a solid, a liquid, or a gas. You are then going to continue and imagine the sun has come up What is going to happen when the sun comes up? At this stage, once again, circle if he is a solid, liquid, or gas. And lastly, once that sun changes the snowman, what is he then going to become? After you have finished your written portion, you are then going to use the boxes to illustrate your writing. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you enjoyed the activity. Have a good day.